It is now time for rapid fire. Gilbert, Jalen
No,
Ramsey,
no noises this time. Oh man.
no noises. Jalen Ramsey and Joe Burrow were both injured on the same day of training camp. Which injury will have the biggest impact on their respective teams?
Uh, well, I don't know. I feel like the Bengals are trying to hold out hope. And real quick, when Zach Taylor says several weeks, I'm like, that sounds like a lot. When you say several weeks, I'm like, what is that? 2 months in the season? And it sounds like it might be not even one game. So I don't know. So if it's just one game, or even if it is 2 months, it's still better than what Jalen Ramsey has, right? December. So Burrow and the Bengals got the better side of it, and he's more important, so that's bigger for them. But it is a bigger impact on the Dolphins because the lengthier time for Ramsey.
I think James. Somebody tweeted out that he's been wrong several times, Zach Taylor, when it comes to evaluations and stuff. So it sounds like he may be out for that was gnarly. Like the way he just kind of and remember what are the worst injuries? The ones that no contact, like the ones that happen with no contact. So obviously we're not going to know. I'm sure they're going to try and get Mr. Miyagi in there to try and bring his leg back. But if he misses game, I mean, I think Joe Burrows is worse just because he's a quarterback and they need their quarterback. So if he's out, I think if he's out even one game, I think that's bad for the Bengals, but we'll see.
I wouldn't be surprised if he misses 2 games, Fernando, because if he's out all of the summer, you need a couple of weeks to kind of get back in the
Yeah.
groove. Because if you can just put, no pun, like you strain that calf right away, you're back and you miss another 4 weeks. So you can't
Remember
do
what
that.
happened to Keenan? Keenan tried to rev up after 3 or 4 weeks, and then he got re-injured, and that stuff is tricky. I mean, you can't just all of a sudden oh hey, it's been 3 weeks now. Okay, I can go out there. It's however your body's feeling, and if his body's not reacting the way it is, it could take him some time. But Gilbert, Sean Payton pulled a Dan and Dago, and he stirred the pot last week with the New York Jets with comments he made after an interview for the U.S. From Jared Bell of the USA Today. He later backtracked the comments he made about former Broncos head coach Nathaniel Hackett. Aaron Rodgers and Mohamed Salah or Robert Salah were not. Mohamed Salah plays for
I was
Liverpool.
gonna
My
say,
bad.
I think I know
Robert
that guy,
Salah. Yeah,
Mo Salah, right?
Mo Salah. We're not happy with Peyton's comments. Obviously, we all saw the interview with Peter Schrager where Aaron Rodgers just lit into Sean Payton. But do you feel like this is kind of they play Week 5? Do you feel like this is making that game turn into a must watch when they play each other Week 5, Broncos and Jets?
Yeah, I think it's a must watch, but like I don't like Sean Payton backtracking. Like I kind of actually like the interview. I'm like, okay, you're being honest, man. That's what we want. And then when you're too honest, oh, we don't like that, boo you. And I'm like, you can't have it both ways, man. He was being honest, and then looking out for his guy, his Russell Wilson. I'm like, in a way, it could have really helped his own team, but now he's kind of igniting the Jets in the opposite. And then when he backtracked, it's like, okay, you just ruined it, Sean Payton. But it will be a lot of hype there, and it's going to help the Jets, I feel like. But it could have easily helped the Broncos too until you backtrack.
This felt like you've seen The Blind Side, right? With Sandra Bullock.
Yes.
Okay, you remember the scene where Michael Orr gets kicked in the head by a dude, and the head coach starts yelling and saying, "I'm not going to let you or any racist sob screw with my player." This and that. And that. That felt like what Sean Payton did, like to try and make Team 3 happy. He tried to. Can you imagine if somebody came out and said Sierra's music sucks? I wonder what Sean Payton would have said then. He probably would have gotten even more fired up. But I think I think that's why he did it. But dude, you kind of caused some stir. I'm sure it's not just the Jets. Now other head coaches are talking and they're like, "Hey, did you hear what this dude said?" Now people are going to really want to shut him up. And remember, Sean Payton's been at only, we don't know if he's a great head coach or not. I know people like to anoint him. We've only seen him at one place and he succeeded under Drew Brees. We've saw a little bit of a glimpse when Drew Brees left at what Sean Payton kind of looked at like, and it wasn't very good. So I'm wondering to see what it's going to look like here, especially with Russell Wilson, Team 3 at the helm. I'm interested to see kind of what everybody thinks, that he's magically going to fix the Broncos and he's going to wave a magic wand. Remember, Joe Lombardi's the offensive coordinator. We've seen what he can do, and now Sean Payton's there. I'm a little hesitant about anointing the Broncos as of right now. But Gilbert, something or nothing. Jonathan Taylor has requested a trade after meeting with the Colts owner Jim Irsay. Will Taylor be traded this season, and could this add more fuel to the fire for running backs?
That Jim Irsay, man, he likes to be in the spotlight, and I guess he texted a bunch of reporters, inside reporters, that he's not going to trade Jonathan Taylor, so I guess he won't be
Not now
traded.
and not in week 8.
Yeah, during the deadline, right? That's what he
Yeah.
meant. So I guess it's not going to happen, and I don't know. See, I really don't know what's going on with the. I don't know if it's going to help or not with the running backs, but it's another kind of like, hey, you don't really matter to us, and it didn't help too that supposedly Jonathan Taylor came in with an injury and he wasn't that good last year.
They put him on the PUP,
Which kind of works out for the Colts because, hey, we don't have to pay you and you take another hit there. So that just shows you how many cards the owners have in the team. Like, you could crawl you want a running back, but at the end of the day, you still have to come back and get your paycheck. And so I don't know. I really don't know the solution here, but you got to take some drastic measures sometimes. And let's see what Josh Jacobs in the does with the Raiders. But overall, it's not looking good for the whole RB position.
I completely agree with you 100%. By the way, I just saw a tweet that the Colts gave Andrew Luck all of his $24.8 million when he retired. Even though he retired, they gave him his money. That was a bit really interesting tweet. But I agree with you when it comes to the running backs. It just feels like it just felt like an unnecessary war. But I mean, it's funny. Austin Eckler was asked about it, and he's like, "Well, Jim Irsay is right. Like, we did negotiate this in the or they negotiated that in the CBA." So I just don't know. I feel like every other position kind of makes a lot of money. Did you see Etienne's? Etienne had something pretty good to say about Christian McCaffrey. If I'm not mistaken, he said we all have to change, revolutionize the game, and impact the game in different ways. I feel like if Christian McCaffrey can get paid, we can get paid, but we have to be able to do different things the way Christian can. And Austin Eckler kind of fits that mold. Etienne kind of fits that mold as well. So there are some running backs that can fit that mold. So it'll be interesting to see what they do moving forward. Gilbert Bill Barnwell from ESPN took to X to ask about 1 in 4 teams who won 5 games or fewer posting a winning record the following year. The Jags, the Giants, and the Lions all did it last year. Who will do it this year? The Colts, the Texans, the Bears, the Broncos, the Rams, or the Cardinals?
Ooh, I think from that list, I don't know. But I kind of like the
3.
No, I like the Bears a little bit, man. I like that they got DJ Moore. I like that they improved the offensive line with Darnell Wright and Nate Davis. The defense I'm a little worried about, but they got a few guys. Is it? I'm gonna mess up his first name, but Brisker, the safety for the Bears is pretty good. So they need more on defense, but I really like. I want to see what Justin Fields does here. Oh, they got the 2 linebackers too, Terrell Edmonds and TJ Edwards. There we go. Yep. I know some Bears players. But I think they'll win for sure more than 5 games, but I don't know about winning record. I don't feel good about any of these teams, Fernando. Maybe you want to say it one more time. Maybe the Texans, I think, maybe. But
you got team 3, the Colts, the Texans, Bears, Rams, and Cardinals.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe the Broncos, but from that list, I feel optimistic more about the Bears. But I don't know which team's going to win, have a winning record. They're all kind of bad teams.
I'm going to go with the Colts. I think the Colts have a good defense. I think they have some good pieces. And man, I'm excited to see Anthony Richardson. I want to see what Anthony Richardson is going to do. I've heard some positive things out of camp about him. I think Daniel Jeremiah was there, and he said that that Anthony looked pretty good. So I'll go with I'll say that the Colts become the team that do well over there. But Gilbert, moving on to our last thing. I'm bringing this guy in. You're going to be like, what is this?
Tic-tac. 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 Empezamos.
That's a journalist who's covering the Kylian Mbappe drama going on right now. And he says tic-tac because they say that he's going to come to Real Madrid and it's only days now that he's going to come. So he goes tic-tac. And he just
it's time, not the actual app.
Yeah, it's become a sensation like all over Spain and all over. Like if you talk to soccer fans and you say tic-tac, like they'll be like, oh my god, like that's funny because that guy is really famous in Spain. Like the dude makes bundles of cash working at a network out there. But
so I'm guessing you're very excited about this potentially happening.
Oh, I'd love it. It'd be our team it would be like when Thanos puts that final Infinity Stone. That's what would happen. I mean, but no, that's not what we're talking about, though. Last week, we talked about how Kylian Mbappe was offered $776 million to play for 1 year in Saudi Arabia. And we've also discussed Lionel Messi making $1.6 billion from endorsements from the MLS, Adidas, and Apple TV as part of his agreement to join Inter Miami. As we now know, Mbappe turned down the deal with Al Hilal. But which of the two deals are you taking as an athlete, Gilbert? The long-term deal like Messi or the 1 year bump like Kylian Mbappe?
I'll take the 1 year bump because I don't trust anything the MLS does. All these streaming sites are losing a lot of money too. Like I saw Peacock about to lose $3 billion in 1 year, Fernando. So give me the guaranteed 1 year contract to live in Saudi Arabia. You have to deal with the heat, Fernando, but other than that, I'm okay.
Oh, I deal. You know who's keeping the lights on there, right? The Office and WWE are keeping the lights on with Peacock.
On Peacock, yeah,
they're the only one. The cock. They're the only ones keeping those lights on. Oh my God, are you, Gilbert? If you took that 1 year deal, you would make more than LeBron James has ever made in his NBA career. He's made $536 million. You'd make $776 million in one. The only thing is, there's a little bit of weird stuff. This happened in China a couple of years ago, where China was buying all these soccer players, and at one point they were like, "Oh, sorry, we can't pay you guys." I don't know how it's going in Saudi, but if Cristiano Ronaldo's there, he's all about that action, boss. He's all about that money, so they must be paying him on time. But give me the 1 year contract. I just have to go to Saudi Arabia for 1 year with all the baddies out there. Yeah, I have to be single though. I wouldn't. I have to be single and go to Saudi Arabia. Oh wait, no, you can't do anything in Saudi Arabia actually. Never mind. I'll still go to Saudi Arabia, but I'd rather be married. Yeah, no, I ain't getting in trouble out there. That's a different country. That's like saying, "Oh, do you want to be in a Mexican prison?" No, thank you. No hablo.
What are you planning on doing with that money in 1 year, Fernando? That's what I'm thinking now.
You know what's funny? With all this lottery stuff, somebody asked me, like, what would you do? I'm like, I may go travel the world I may take a month off of work or whatever, go travel the world, come back, and still do what I'm doing. Like, why? Like, I mean, I'd have like an expensive car and all that, but like, and live in a different house. But like, why would I want to do anything else? Like, I'm gonna get bored at one point, so I'd continue with my everyday life, I guess. But if I like felt like I wanted to take time off, I'd be like, oh, here's $2,000. Leave me alone. I'm gonna go take 2 months off. I'll be back. So, but definitely, I'd rent a yacht. I would pull a Clay Thompson. I'd rent a yacht with beautiful Instagram models, and I'd go to like Ibiza and hang out and everything. I'm telling you, right? There's a lot of thoughts for that money.
Yeah,
but
I could tell.
None of them are good.